Hello everybody, Direphon here. Been a while since I made one of these, but hey, guess what? Apacies 1.6 being released today. So as usual, I've got my notes over to the side. I'm gonna try and cut this a little bit different, so hopefully it gets a little bit more traction, but let's get on into it. First off, I made a story outline with explicit detail on what the characters will be doing. This includes quests, what towns the player has available to them, and where I think they might go. It's still open-ended enough, and this is just the main storyline. I don't have any side quests so far, so there's still room for it to work. I did not implement any of these into the story itself. I'm going to wait until the final update, that way, well, the story is fresh. There's a finalized NPC look, so if I go ahead and load up the scene, you get to see it. This is the new Noah. With a little bit more detail added to him, he can actually run around, and the movement directions are much more responsive now that I've learned a little bit more when it comes to that. Every move that goes out of the norm has its own description now. So fake out here. This move has a chance to flinch the enemy. There were some changes to the brawlman options for the scenes, those are the trainers in my game, so that way they can have more than 3 Apacies, because that would severely limit the game and create less of a challenge. And their levels aren't just static anymore. They don't have to be the same levels, they're going to judge based off the party and spread out the levels a little bit more chaotically, so that way you're not stuck with the same enemy over and over again, even if I code it with the same creatures. As for bug fixes, each Apacie's nickname now is going to be its nickname. I know that's been in a few of these. It is fixed. Or it should be. I'm going to double check before this is done. And a big one, again, is no extra enemy whenever you launch out the Dreamcatcher. Before, in the 1.5 update, you would throw out your Dreamcatcher, you could run into an Apacies, the Dreamcatcher would come back at you and hit that same Apacies, so then it'd double up at the fight scene. So that's all fixed. The Dreamcatcher itself will freeze whenever you're in battle. So, the backgrounds are a little bit more detailed. I do have some work to do on these, because I don't think I want them like this, because that doesn't quite look natural. But for now, it's kind of nice, and I am somewhat partial to be able to seeing your character behind these different assets. So maybe I'll try and find a way to keep these. I did try something towards the end here that was supposed to fix this and make all this more dynamic and make the map a little bit more interactable. I had some problems with that, and I'm just pushing the update anyway because this is going to be a deeper rabbit hole than I think it will be, so for now, just deal with it. The art honestly just looks kind of nice to see. It won't always be a pale green void anymore. Another thing would be that I've hidden little artifacts around the map, and there's finally a use for this area that's been here since, I don't know, update 0.4. So in pretty much every town or route, there will be a hidden object. They're related to a guardian, and one of those guardians may come and see you. Part of the story, so I'm waiting on that till later, but I will start doing background stuff for that in the next update. Speaking of the next update, there's one more thing that I want to do when it comes to player interaction with the battle, is I want Noah himself, the main player, to be in the fight as well. What I'm picturing so far, and I think I'm going to stick with this, is if you really want to help out your creatures, once a round you get a shot that deals a tick of damage to all the released enemies that you're facing. What this will do is lower the experience gain on your Apacies by 10%. Yes, if you're in a rough situation, you can use that, but there will be penalties. I might increase that to 20-30% XP loss, because I do want it so that it's a real decision that you have to make, not just something you can blast through. If you're a speedrunner, I'm sure you'll love it, but just something to think about. It's consistent damage that you can always call on if needed. Next update is the variation update, so in particular I would like to change up the variations on like attack moves in particular. I want to be a little bit more minute. I want there to be dynamically changing colors for the particles, for typing maybe, or just to fit the move itself. So I'll have to work on that. That could lead over into other updates, but I want to start working on that. I want to have more Brahmin customization on my end. Pokemon lets it set moves for a particular Brahmin, and I'm not sure I'll be that detailed, but I do want to be able to set natures and maybe guide the move choice towards what the nature benefits. Overworld weather particles. So instead of just seeing this blank void, maybe there'll be some shadow around. If it's cloudy, maybe some clouds floating across the sky, maybe sun rays beaming down or sandstorm being kicked up, something to keep you visually interested and make the game look prettier. I will expand the NPC designs into the rest of the game. Right now it's still the old stuff because that's going to be a lot to go off of, and I kind of need to rebuild my character generator. And the last big thing that I want to try and work on next time is a turn tracker. Just something that you can keep visually in mind so that way you know when your turn's coming up and you can plan for, oh, all three Apacies are going in between your two. And before I go, there is a big part of the new update, which is sounds. There's a lot more sounds when it comes to battling in particular, when it comes to releasing, when it comes to attacking. The game really seems to come alive more thanks to Frank Colburn, who has been helping me out. So far, fantastic guy. More than I could ask for. I would not be able to put this level of polish on sounds. Yes, I can maybe critique them, say I'd prefer them this way, not this way, but I don't have the kind of skills to be able to come up with those sounds from scratch. So I have a lot to thank to this guy. He didn't want me to plug in anything in particular, so say thank you, Frank, in the comments. I don't know. This was the Storybeats and Balance update, and yeah, these names are falling off a little bit, but it still works. I did work on the Storybeats. I did work a little bit on balancing enemies. So, you know what? I fit the criteria. So I'll see you next time for the variation update. But as of now, enjoy 1.6. Thank you all for watching and listening. Have a great night.